Here at the Beehive, all the bees are behaving, and that's because that's what God wants us to do. We learn our verses from our Bibles, and we like to show them to you. It all starts with Queenie, she knows the verse. She'll tell her stories and what we learned. Peyton is the patient, Willow is wise, Jenny is generous all the time. Dylan happy is so diligent, Louie is so loving, Hudson he is humble as he fights his pride. Grace is always graciously gracious, and then the gentle Jimmy, that's the bees at our hive. Here at the Beehive, all the bees are behaving, that's because that's what God wants us to do. We learn our verses from our Bibles, and we like to show them to you.
Good morning, children. Welcome to our Beehive for Memory Monday. Today's story is Be Humble, Hudson, and our memory verse is Proverbs 16:18. Pride leads to destruction. A proud attitude brings ruin. Can you kids say this with me? Proverbs 16:18. Pride leads to destruction. A proud attitude brings ruin. Great job! Let's begin our story. Once upon a time, in the buzzing meadow, there was a lively bee named Hudson. Summer was drawing to a close, and all the bees faced challenges in their honey-making adventures. Dylan being trapped by a bear, and Jenny being stuck in a pile of pollen all came to mind. However, Hudson seemed to have sailed through without a single hiccup. As autumn approached, Hudson couldn't help but boast about his flawless honey-making skills. He bragged to his fellow bees about how he never encountered any trouble while building his hive. His pride soared higher than the tallest sunflower in the meadow. "Bruh," he said to his friends in the hive, "when I think about our summer, I can think of lessons you all learned from struggles you had. I'm proud to say I didn't make any mistakes. None, big or little. I know I'm often scared, but only of big things, like dying." "Busy, busy, buzz, buzz. We all do our best, so we're all number one," Dylan chimed in. Willow, always the wise bee, offered her advice. "It's okay to know that you've done well, but you must be careful with pride. Don't allow your pride to take root and grow into an ego monster." "A monster?" Hudson shivered. "I don't like monsters. I don't want to die." Grace smiled at her friend. "Not a literal monster, but it's best to avoid a big ego as though it were." One day, as the sun dipped low and cast a golden glow across the meadow, the bees said their goodnights and went to their beds. Hudson felt sleep tugging at him when he had a feeling like something was in the corner of his room. He clutched his blankets under his chin and he watched the mysterious creature emerge. He looked closely at the beast and felt like there was something familiar with it. Who are you?" he stuttered. "Don't be afraid," the monster grinned. "I am your friend. Look closely at me." Do you think Hudson should be afraid? What is the creature in his room? We'll get back to the story to find out. But first, let's practice our memory verse for today. Our memory verse is Proverbs 16:18. Pride leads to destruction. A proud attitude brings ruin. Can you kids say that verse with me? Proverbs 16:18. Pride leads to destruction. A proud attitude brings ruin. Great job. Let's check in with Hudson. Hudson stood and walked to the creature. As he approached, he saw himself in the belly of the beast, as though he was looking in a mirror. "Oh," he said in surprise, "I guess you're a good-looking fellow." He grinned at his reflection. As the compliment reached the creature, it seemed to grow. Are you getting bigger?" Hudson asked. "Perhaps." The creature looked down on the bee with a smile. "No fear, though. I make you feel good." Looking at his reflection again, Hudson said, "I can see that. You make me look good, too. I sure am a handsome bee." As he spoke, the beast grew again. Hudson took a step back and wondered, "Do my friends know about you?" The creature rolled his eyes. "Don't worry about them. I like you better than the rest of them. Look at all the mistakes they have made this season." Hudson thought about Peyton being stuck in a spider web and how the thunderstorm broke the roof when Willow didn't understand how to use her knowledge. He shook his head as he recalled all the other mistakes his friends had made through the summer. With those things in mind, his chest puffed with pride and he spoke, "It's true. I was so amazing this summer." It was as though the words that had left his mouth were feeding the monster and making it grin. Hudson was starting to feel nervous. "You seemed so nice when I first started talking to you, but now you're getting bigger and somehow you look a little more dangerous." "Oh, come on now," the creature cooed. "You are a big, brave bee. You can handle anything that comes your way." Hudson smiled at the compliment and allowed himself to believe it. "I am feeling invincible," he said. "Nothing can stop me. After all, I'm the best bee in the hive." As his words landed on his visitor's ears, the creature grew so tall his head was touching the ceiling. What is happening? Who is the creature in Hudson's room? We'll find the answer to that in a moment. But I think now is a good time to practice our memory verse. Today, our memory verse is Proverbs 16:18. "Pride leads to destruction. A proud attitude brings ruin." Can you kids say that verse with me? Proverbs 16:18. "Pride leads to destruction. A proud attitude brings ruin." Great job! Let's get back to Hudson and see how he's doing. "Why do you keep growing?" he cried out. "And why do your teeth look bigger and sharper?" "No worries," the beast assured him. "I don't need my teeth to eat you. In fact, I'm not going to eat you at all." "You're not?" "And I'm not going to put you in me at all. But I am inside of you." Hudson was confused. "You don't look like it." "I am your ego. I feed on your pride." "I prefer bananas," Hudson offered. "Maybe you could give that a try." The beast roared in laughter. "I prefer the taste of a bee's arrogance." "What do you do when you get too big?" Hudson asked. "If you grow anymore, you'll break through the roof." The creature rolled his eyes. "You've got a big ego for a bee who is so dense," he sighed. "I want to grow and grow inside of you until I destroy your life. Once I am so big, nothing can stop me. You will think you are better than all of your friends. You will start to treat them poorly, but you won't care because you will think you are better than them. You will step on anyone who gets in your way as you strive to be the best. I will talk you into lying, cheating, and stealing. Anything so you can be on top." Hudson cried, "I don't want to be like that. I want my ego to die," he called out. The beast looked down on little Hudson. "We must duel. Fight to the death." "No!" Hudson screamed. "I don't want to die." The ego monster flashed his sharp yellow teeth. "Neither do I. Let's talk about how great you are." Hudson was proud of how well he had behaved and worked over the summer, but he was starting to realize how dangerous his pride could be. Hudson sat on his bed. "I did well this summer, but I can't do anything if it weren't for the Lord. All of the glory belongs to Him." "Stop!" the monster cried out. Hudson looked, surprised that the ego monster appeared to be shrinking. "All of my talents and everything good about me came from God." "No!" the beast called as he shrunk more. Think about how badly your peers did this summer. You're so much better than they are, he begged. No one is perfect, Hudson answered. The eagle monster was no longer looking like a threat. In fact, he was getting smaller each time Hudson spoke. He smiled and waved to the little blob of ego that was left. If it weren't for God, I couldn't even take my next breath. He is my everything. All of my strength is in him. Do you think Hudson beat his ego once and for all? We'll find out in a minute. But first, let's practice our memory verse. Today's memory verse is Proverbs 16:18. Pride leads to destruction. A proud attitude brings ruin. Can you kids say that with me? Proverbs 16:18. Pride leads to destruction. A proud attitude brings ruin. Great job! Let's check in with Hudson. With the last words, the ego monster disappeared and Hudson breathed a sigh of relief. Hudson lowered his head and prayed, God, I'm sorry I let my pride grow so big. Help me to be a humble bee. Help me always remember that everything I have and everything I am is from you. I love you. Amen. From that day forward, Hudson became a wiser and more humble bee. He learned that true strength lies not in boasting about one's successes, but in acknowledging all the glory belongs to the Lord. In each victory, he remembered to thank God for helping him. As winter fell on the meadow, Hudson's hive stood as a testament to the lessons learned during the honey-making season. A hive built on God's love, filled with bees who lived to please the Lord. The end. It's not only the end of this story, but it's the end of the Behaving in the Beehive series. I hope you enjoyed the time in our hive. Maybe you can come back next year. But until then, see you. Love you.